Today, I'd like to begin sharing with you 7 tips to diffuse fights and improve your marriage. This is put out by Thriving Marriages. You can get more resources and information about marital issues from thrivingmarriages.com. But I thought these were some good things to consider as we talk about investing in our marriage relationships. And one of the first things that they mention in these 7 tips, tip number 1, is about the topic of rush. There should always be time for your spouse. We've been conditioned to cram as much as we can into the limited amount of time we have each day. And while it may be okay to rush out the door and eat breakfast on the go or rush to get through a to-do list, rushing through a conversation or an argument, an important conversation, is a fast way to hurt your marriage. So on each of these tips and each of these areas, they have don'ts and do's. And the don't on this one is, while you may be a pro at fixing your hair or applying makeup on the go, never try to rush through an argument in the car. Having a cargument is never a good idea. The lack of eye contact and the countless distractions are compounded by the approaching destination. Rushing an argument with your spouse can have devastating impacts. But the do in this area is do take the time to work through each and every argument. Really tune in and focus on what your spouse is saying and feeling. Show them you care by putting down the distractions and dedicate your time to them. You can't control when an argument happens, but you can treat it seriously and avoid rushing through it. And I would say in some cases, I would add to this tip a clarification. Sometimes arguments start at a really inconvenient time and they have to be put on pause until a more appropriate and helpful time. Now, one of the things a lot of couples do is they'll put it on pause and then the emotions go down and then they'll think, oh, everything seems peaceful now. I don't want to rock the boat. And they never get back to it. And what happens is it gets swept under the rug and it doesn't really get dealt with. So do the best you can to not rush through an argument. And when it's absolutely necessary, press the pause button and agree immediately about when you'll come back together to finish the discussion. Because ultimately, although our arguments may seem like we are having a passionate discussion with an enemy, they're really ways that we can connect more deeply as a married couple. And there are ways that we can learn other perspectives, that there's not necessarily only your way or my way, but there might be a third way that we can come to together because we're willing to talk about these things when we're feeling heated and when we're feeling calm. In fact, it might be more healthy and more helpful to wait until you are calm to come and discuss it, because it has a way of taking you further, faster, when you're talking about these things without the emotions flaring up and getting explosive. So that's all we're going to do today for tip number 1. And we'll get to tip number 2 next time.